Introducing the EKEN H9, my first 4K sports camera. Okay, when I first bought the Monster, I figured new scooter, I need a new camera to go along with it. So I bought this one, the EKEN H9, my first 4K camera. It has Wi-Fi mode, but I don't really use Wi-Fi anyway, so it doesn't matter. It cost me a little bit less than the SJ Cam did. And what I like about it is the ports are in the same place and all the buttons are all in the same place, which makes it compatible with all the accessories that I have with the SJs and rain cases, everything all used together. And of course this one came with its own case and accessories, which I can use with the SJ4000s. Now, don't expect to be getting any 4K videos from me for two reasons. One, they take up a heck of a lot of space in the computer, and number two is this camera just doesn't cut it with me. It's not my favorite, and I will explain why. First thing I'm going to point out is the video itself is actually quite crisp. I like it. It's got lots of detail in it. I like it. Now, when I'm going through this tree bushy area, if you notice the color, it changes. It's really good color, and then it gets pale, like lack of contrast, and then it gets really good again, and then it gets bad, and then it gets good. It's inconsistent, and it's throughout the entire video. I don't really think it's lighting that's causing it to change, because it does it in light areas and dark areas, and even when the surroundings are, even though it's changing trees and bushes and that, it's still pretty much consistent scenery. So why it changes like that, I'm not sure, but that's one thing I don't like about it. Another thing I don't like, you may have noticed it already, is right in the very center of the screen, there's like a smudge spot. Now, I noticed this right away. I thought maybe when I was putting the camera on the scooter, I put a fingerprint on the lens, because a fingerprint will make that same problem. But I looked at it, there's nothing there. I've cleaned it as best I could, and there's absolutely nothing on the lens. It's not always there. So most of the time it is there. I do have some videos where it just seems to vanish, so I don't know. It can't be an issue with the lens, otherwise it would always be there. So I don't know what's causing that. And it must have a really cheap sensor in it or something. I'm not sure, but I really don't like that spot. And what I dislike most about this camera is its inability to mix light and dark. I guess you can see here everything looks nice, a really nice video, but watch what happens when I go into the shadow. Anything bright just gets washed out, and once I come back out of the shadow, everything comes back. When it's nice like this, it's actually pretty nice video. There's lots of detail in it, everything looks nice, but it does not like being in a situation where there's light and dark. And to me, that makes the camera useless, because a lot of my places that I go are changing. So there it goes again, that's just a light shadow, and it made a huge difference on the video. Here's an extreme example. This is the one that really drew my attention to this problem. when I go into the shadow here, it looks good at the moment, but then all of a sudden the sky just gets super bright and there's absolutely no detail of the building on the left. You barely see the traffic there. It's just, it's crap. It's absolute crap. Cannot use this video for anything. I'm trying out a new camera mount, that's why I keep looking up to make sure that the camera's still pointing forward. But you can see it come back out, and it's not so bad here because there's more brightness. The shadow's not quite as deep, but it's totally useless to me, this type of video. And it's too bad because as you can see, it's got some really good detail to the video. I really like how it handles the details, all the individual leaves. You know, they're just so crisp. The color, most of the time, anyways, it's natural color. It's like comparing it to my other cameras, it's definitely better in that respect. But with too many issues, you know, the dark shadows and that smudge, which doesn't seem to be here at the moment in this video. Yeah, it's just, I can't use this camera as my daily use camera. However, on cloudy days, when we don't have those deep shadows, everything seems to look fine. Color stays the same, the lighting stays the same. The only thing that really exists is that stupid smudge in the middle, which isn't always there. So I can't depend on it being there or not being there at any given time. So if I use this camera, it'll probably be on cloudy days or rainy days as my backup. At the beginning of this video, I said not to expect any 4K videos from me. There's several reasons for that, aside from the quality issues that I just went through. The day I got the camera, I used it to record my tour, and it resulted in 40 gigabytes worth of video. That's a little much for my computer. They take up so much space that I'm kind of limited to how much I can actually do. Another reason for it is they result in a video where the bit rate is so high my computer can barely play them. It's really jerky. Video processing. Parts of this video are in 4K, and running the image stabilizer on it, it takes so long compared to the 1080p that I'm used to working with. The advantages would be if there's an event or something that I want to record, I can use it as a secondary camera where I plan to zoom in on a certain part of it, because then, you know, the quality's there when it's zoomed in. It's just, you know, there's more information in the video that allows it to do that. So I figured out with the 40 gigabytes, just the specs on it I went through. So I made this chart. I wanted to compare it to my other cameras as well. So I made this chart. The EKEN H9 has several different recording modes. In 4K mode, it saves files every 5 minutes. So it results in several different files, and each one's 5 minutes long. And the size of those files are, this is average, the size of the files are 2.16 gigabytes. And recording at that rate, I get a gigabyte every 2.3 minutes. And of course, again, that's average. I went through all the videos that I've done and just kind of added them all together and, you know, averaged everything out. Now, it also has a 2.7K mode, which is a smaller physical size, and it also records in 5-minute segments. But what I don't understand is the size is the same. it's still 2.16 gigabytes, resulting in, you know, a gigabyte every 2.3 minutes. So I'm not sure. I actually haven't looked at the bit rates on the two to see, you know, if they're identical or not. But I don't understand why the 2.7K and 4K result in the same size files. I'm not sure. So in 1080p, which is the mode that I'm mostly using, the video lengths are 10 minutes long. So every 10 minutes it starts a new video, and the size of them, amazingly, are only 824 megabytes. And at that rate, I get 1 gigabyte every 12.3 minutes. That is impressive to me, because if I get the SJ cam in here in 1080p mode, the video files are 30 minutes long, and they're 3.98 gigabytes in size, and that gives me 7.5 minutes per gigabyte every 7.5 minutes. I bring the GoPro Hero 3 in at 1080p. The video lengths are average 17.5 minutes long, at 1.85 gigabytes per file, and that gives me 9.5 minutes to generate 1 gigabyte. So, looking up at this, the H9 at 1080p results in, you know, the smallest amount of gigabytes that I'm putting into my computer. I know, compared to everything else, I find that very impressive. And the quality doesn't look any different. I can't remember the size of my screen. If I can find it here. I don't remember how to find that. Okay, well, it's going to take me a while. Okay, I'm at 1366 by 768 pixels. That's the size of my computer screen. And at that resolution, I can't notice any difference whatsoever in the different size files. So as far as using the H9, it also has, all this is 30 frames per second, all these that are compared. It also has a 60 frame per second mode. I haven't experimented with that yet, but that'll come in handy if I want to do a slow motion video, which in some cases I've done, but not with this camera, just the regular 30 frames per second, and a 60 would help out with that. So my conclusion here is I'll still be using the SJ cam as my main camera, and my daily use camera. I'm going to need a new one soon because this one's starting to fail on me. The display seems to be going, so I think the sensor's wearing out, but it doesn't like to run on the battery itself anymore. It has to be plugged in, an external power source, because if I run it on the battery I get all kinds of electrical noise, and when the light flashes on it, you can actually hear that in the audio. So it's kind of wearing down, but I'm not surprised. I've had it a year and a half. It gets used every day, several hours, so I'm not surprised. I got my money's worth out of it already. But as far as the H9 goes, I think I'm just going to use it as my backup camera. On days when it's threatening rain, I use the SJ cam outside of its waterproof case, and I usually have a backup one inside a waterproof case. It's got a power cord on the case, and if it starts to rain, I cover up the SJ cam and I start using the one in the case. So the H9 seems to do good on cloudy days and rainy days, so that's going to be my backup for that. So hopefully everything else will work out okay. But that's my experience with the EKEN H9. I haven't tried it underwater. I don't know what it would look like underwater, but as far as using it as an everyday camera on sunny days, I really recommend not buying it for that purpose. So, but if it's, like I say, if you're going to use it underwater, I can't give any opinion on that because I haven't tried that one. I don't know. I imagine it'd be the same, like if you're in a swimming pool or something on a sunny day, the sun coming down, I would imagine it would mess things up as well. So you can use your judgment on that one. And that's it for this video.
Bye.